Page 428, we get to learn how to add command buttons to a form. Now, this section is a little more difficult than the previous section, but as long as you do exactly what it says, you'll be fine. And if you have problems, it's okay. You can just go back and do it again. It'll be fine. So just relax and have fun with it. So the first thing we want to do is make sure we're in Form Design Tools and we are on the Design tab, and then we click on the More arrow. You want to make sure that your Use Control Wizards is selected, and it is for me, so make sure you have a pink box around yours. If you don't, click on it, but if you do, just leave it be. Alright. Now we want to select our button tool. We are going to make some navigation buttons on our form. Our button tool is the fourth button over. So we click on that button tool one time. It gives us a plus sign with a little button to the right of it. And we are going to click underneath this area here. So we're going to set it about, we're going to have like 4 or 5 buttons. So we're going to set it pretty far over here, and remember, it can always be moved. If we don't like it, we can move it, and it is all good. Alright, so turn the page, and then it says to number 2, second bullet, with the record navigation selected. So in our category, record navigation is selected. We want to click on the go to next record for our action. So these are all categories. So even when you do this on your own, in your own life, in your own business, whatever, each of these categories have different actions already written for them. Alright? So in this case, we are going to do record navigation, and we're going to choose, this is going to be our go to next record button. So we're going to choose next now. And we're going to use a text. You can use pictures. It already has 2 pictures there that you could use, but we're going to do text instead. Alright, so our text is going to say next record, and since that is what we want it to say, we will leave it be and we will say next. Now, command 16 is what the button says right now. See, we want to say something that people will know what it is. So next record, it would be the logical choice. So next record. Oops. Alright, and hit finish. And you have now made your first navigation button. Pretty fun, right? And not near as difficult as what it looks like. Alright, now we want to do the same thing. We're going to create 4 more buttons. So the next one we're going to create is the previous button. So same thing, we're going to come up to our button control, click here, and come to about here, and remember we can move them and line them up later. We want to use record navigation, and this is going to be our previous record, so we want to choose go to previous record in our actions. Choose next, and here they're showing you what it would look like if it was the picture, but we are going to choose text. So previous record is going to be the text, and then we actually have to type previous record. Alright, so you are already making your own buttons. Piece of cake. So much fun, right? And the next one, we want to do an add record button. So click on the 4th button, come down here, click on, and see mine's a little lower, that's okay, we can fix that all later. Click on record categories is record navigation, and this time we're choosing add record. So we want to do, so that doesn't work, huh? So all we have to do now is read the directions. And it says add new record in the record operations category. Awesome. Click on record operations category, and we want add new record. Alright, piece of cake. next. We still want to do text, and our text will be add record, so next, and our button will say add record. Pretty cool. And hit finish. Alrighty. And our next one is to delete a record. So where do you think that will be? Do you think it's going to be record navigation, or do you think it's going to be record operations? Alright, so record operations it is, and we want to choose delete record. So see, a lot of this stuff, if you don't freak out, you can sit and logic your way through it. You don't need the book, which I advise you hang on to the book forever. But if worst case scenario, if you don't freak out, you can logic your way through it. Our text, delete record, next. And our button is going to say delete record. So nice that they give us a little sample, and we're going to hit finish. Alright, and our last one is close form. Alright, now, so where do you think we are going to click for close? Which category? Record navigation, record operations, or do you think it's going to be form operations? Because we're going to close the entire form. So we click on form operations, and we're going to choose close form. But look at all the stuff that you could create. It's already done for you. You don't have to write the code. Now in a minute we are going to do a little bit of code, not much. Alright, close form, and we want to choose close or type close form. Alright, and hit finish. Most excellent. Now if you know me, that's going to drive me crazy, right? So I have to arrange this just really fast because it's going to drive me crazy. And we have a top. There we go. Nicely spaced and aligned buttons. And you have done your first buttons. Pretty exciting. Go ahead and hit save. Save is good. And we're going to turn the page. Now we are going to make a combo box. That means that there will be several choices that people can choose when they use this box. And we're going to place this box in our form header. So the first thing we want to do is make sure you're in the design tab. Click on the more button if you need, but it's good to double check to make sure that use control wizards is selected. And then we want to use our combo box, and that's the one to the left of the chart. So combo box, and we're going to come down here and click about here-ish. Yay. Now we want to choose from there, find a record on my form based on the value I selected in my combo box. So for this, if there's a specific customer that you want to find, all you have to do is click on that box and you'll get a list, and you can choose the one you need and it'll go straight to that instead of having to go next record, next record, next record. Alright, it'll be a nice little thing. Alright, so in this case we want to choose customer number, and I'm going to, nope, customer name. That's why we double check. Customer name, and we move that over, and that's all we're going to put here. So we do next. Now we have a group of names selected and they're cut off, and you know how bad that is, right? So we're going to come up here between customer name and grab and drag out to make it wide enough to make sure that you can see every piece of the name. Now, yes, you can double click just like you do normally. Always smart to double check though, because you know I will take off if names are cut off. Alrighty then. Next, we want to choose next. So much fun. And then we're going to turn the page. And we're going to type for the label. Now this is going to be kind of weird, and I'll explain it to you. We're going to do the ampersand first. That's not actually going to show up on the label, but what that will do is underline the letter N so that it lets the user know that they can do a Control N to jump to that particular box. So we're going to hit finish, and there we have name to find right there. And yeah, I gotta show you just real quick. The book doesn't tell you to look, so just don't. I'll just show you real quick. So we have name to find right there, and you click on the down arrow, and here's your group. Let's say we wanted to go there, and if it works, it should do that. Pretty cool, right? And look, check this out. Next record, you can cycle through them. Previous record, yes, and then add and delete record. I don't want to choose those because that's going to be a mess to get back to normal, and then close form. So all of these things you just made. Pretty neat, right? Alright, back to design view. Now the next thing we're going to do is place a rectangle, and we want to emphasize a specific area of the form. So this is for looks. Alright, so we want to click on the rectangle tool. So once again, as usual, if we don't know what something is, right, we can slide over these, and I'll slow down. See? And then rectangle. Sweet. And all this is going to do is draw an emphasis around what we just did. So we are going to click on that, and we're going to drag a rectangle around all of this stuff here. Alright, now I'm going to arrow it up just a hair because you know how picky I am. And if you use the control button, it gives you smaller motions. So just a tip for all of you control freaks out there. So fun. Alright, so next, click on your property sheet. And we want to make sure that our special effect for this box that we just drew our special effect is set to etched, and mine is. And then also we want to make the back style property to be transparent. So we want back style needs to be transparent. Now that was already done for me, so it should be for you, but if not, go ahead and fix that. Then close the property sheet, and let's save our form. Alright, now they do tell us to go ahead and close it, so we'll follow directions and close it. Alright, and then they tell us to right click and open. Now you know me, if I'm just opening it, I much prefer to double click, but whatever makes you happy. Alright, so we drew this box, and see how mine cuts that off a little bit there? That's annoying to me. And so I'm going to make my box just a smidge bigger. Now, you do not have to be this exacting, but it does look better if you are. And the more professional we are, the better. The more likely you are to get offers for, promotions, jobs, things like that. And if you have customers, it makes you look professional so that they will take you more seriously, and so it should lead you to more business. So the more professional your forms, the better everything is. Alright, now the next thing we want to do is we're going to test the whole add record button, the thing I skipped just a second ago. So on page 434, number 1, it tells you to go ahead and click the add record button. So we're going to go ahead and click on it, and notice that it goes to a blank form. Alright, so that's good. That's what you want. Now the next one it wants us to do is to click the name to find arrow. So we're going to come up here, name to find. Click on the down arrow. Oh, and see how my TY is cut off, and so is my college? See, I don't like that. So we're going to have to go ahead back and make that a little bigger. Alright, so what they want us to find is First State College. So we'll click there, and it takes us straight to First State College. all is good in the land, and we're going to turn the page. And now it says to click on next record. So basically we just played with our new buttons. Alright, so let's go back to our design view. And if I want to make my space a little bit bigger, I can click on that box all by itself and drag it out a little more. Alright, then of course I'm going to have to make this box a little bigger also. And you may say, oh, that's ridiculous, but it definitely makes life a lot easier when people are using your stuff for real. And so you're going to have to keep playing with it until it works well, but that is okay. Alright, go ahead and save it, and then let's go to next page. Now we're going to modify the macro for the add record button. Now by modifying means that we're going to change the code a little bit. I'm on page 437, number 1. Notice we're back in our form design view. So we want to go to the control for customer number field. So let's go to our control for the customer number. Remember, the control is the white box. Property sheet. And then choose, make sure the all tab is selected. And then make sure that the name property is selected. So we're going to click in name property. And then instead of customer number, they're going to put an underscore there. So we're going to click after the R, hit delete, do shift and underscore. Alright. Then we're going to, and it says to close the property sheet, but we don't have to, and so we're not. The next thing it tells us to do is to go to the add record button and right click it. So right click our add record button, and that gives us a shortcut menu, and you want to go to build event. Now if your action catalog over here on the right hand side didn't open, you'll go ahead and click on this button. So action catalog there, action catalog back. Alright, now on the right side it has several different things you want to do. Now in this case we want to click on the database objects to expand it. So we'll click here. Now just saying, see these triangles or the expand and contract, usually it's like plus signs. So if your actions looks like this, go ahead and click on that triangle to expand it. Then slide down to your database objects and expand that. And then according to number 4, they want us to drag the go to control action and place it right here above the if statement. So in between the offset and the if statement, and then drop it. Now it asks us what we want to name it. See, go to control name. So they want us to type customer underscore number. See that right there? That's what you just typed. So we're going to double click that, customer underscore number. That way you know you've got the right thing. Then we want to go to the next page. Alright, so you've messed with the little code. It wasn't too scary now, was it? Alright, and if we go on to the next page, number 5 says save. So we hit our save, and then we close our action catalog. Here. So it was the X to the right of that tab, and it takes us back to this, and then it says return, okay, close macro and return to design view, and we've done that. So now we're going to do the same thing to our combo box. Just do a little something different, Just try it out for a second, see what we can do. So we want to click on the name to find combo box. So that's this right here, and you want to select the white space. And my property sheet is still open. If yours is not, go ahead and open up your property sheet. Remember, design and property sheet. Alright, and right now it has it wants us to change the name to find. So right now it says the name is Combo 21, and we want to call it name to find. So name underscore to underscore find. Alright, now so we've named it. Notice it has no spaces. That makes your code happy. Alright, so next we want to scroll down to where the row source property shows up. So we might have to scroll a little bit, and we are going to look and arrow down, and we are looking for row source. And here it is, way down here. Make sure that you have row source and not row source type. That would help. So now there's my build button. And we'll click on that, and it takes us back to our query. And we want to tell it to put our names in ascending order. So we're going to go here, and you can click on the down arrow here and choose ascending. And life is great. We're going to hit save right there, and then we're going to close the query builder by clicking on that X, and it takes us back to here. Then we are going to close the property sheet, and then we're going to click on our form selector, so that's this thing here. Then we're going to open our property sheet. Okay, we could have just left the property sheet open, just saying. Alright, so we have selected our form because it has a black sheet, and also here it says form, so we're knowing that we are in the right place. And we want to scroll down until the on current property appears. So let's slide down, and we want to find on current property. And okay, and I'm telling y'all, life is easier if you just click on these buttons instead of doing all the scrolling around looking for stuff. So with that being said, since we are working in events, and if you haven't found your on current property yet, if you go to the event, and it's an event because things happen, alright? So right there at the top of events is on current, alright? Life's a lot easier like that. Just saying. So now it says to click on the build button. Now we have 3 choices here. Let's go ahead and turn the page, and we want to choose code builder. Alright, so we come over here, choose code builder, say OK. Now this is what Access made for us to begin with. Alright, now if you look at number 4 on that page, it says press the tab key and then type name to find. That name to find needs to be, it's in between, our cursor is already there, and the reason why we press the tab key, it's just easier to look at your code and find out what's wrong if you have your tabs and stuff. The code will work whether there's a tab there or not, but when things don't work, it's easier for you to find the problems. So let's type, number 4 says type name underscore, and we type that, remember, name underscore to underscore and find equals. And so as far as the spacing, normally, and notice I said normally, not 100% of the time, but 99% of the time, it adds the correct spacing for you. So I tend to leave out the spacing and let the computer do it for me, lest I add spaces where I shouldn't and then have grief later. I am going to put a space there and update the combo. And since I'm working on my electronic book, I can't see the end. Box. Update the combo box. Alright. And that's all it should say. Then we're going to click the close button. Now, this close button is this one clear up here. It automatically saves. Yes, it makes me nervous every time I do this, but it really does work. And then look, just so you can see what it does. See, this is everything you just did. We didn't save. It did it for us. We're going to keep our fingers crossed. If it doesn't work, then all we have to do is go back in it and add the spaces. Alright. So next, we want to close the form property sheet. Well, and then, I'm not closing my sheet. And then they want us to click on the name defined combo box. So click back on this box. And they want us to go to, we'll do what they say, go to the all. They want us to go down to the tab stop, and we did this before. And right now it is set to yes, and we want to say no. So people will not be able to tab to this. They'll have to intentionally click on it. Alright, and then we hit save. Alrighty then. Now we want to go to the next page. And I have laid down my pencil. Alright, now we're modifying the form. We're going to use the stuff we just did, and that's the end of this section. So I hope you had fun. We'll see you in a second.